So now children, good morning all of you and welcome to today's session of English literature. Today we are going to revise one of the most famous and one of the most interesting poem of your syllabus, that is Daffodils by William Wordsworth. Daffodils. William Wordsworth. Now see children, English literature, as we talk about English literature, if you are a literature lover and if you have interest in learning English, then English is incomplete without learning about William Wordsworth, without learning any poem written by William Wordsworth. So children, children, as we were talking about William Wordsworth, see William, we all develop fondness for William Wordsworth and fondness for this poem Daffodils because we have been studying this poem since our class 6, 7. Those of you who have been graduated to class 10 from ICSE board itself, you must have done this poem in class 6 as well, class 7, because I did it in class 7. You all must have did it, and this is one of the most famous poems which is used by children to recite in elocutions as well. So this is one of the very famous poem, and literature itself is incomplete without the reading about Wordsworth. And I would like to tell you all that Wordsworth was a nature poet. In most of his poems, he has talked about nature, his surrounding around him, and he belonged to the Romantic age. That is why he wrote about nature. And apart from Wordsworth, 3-4 poets also, they belong to Romantic age, and they were, you can say, John Keats and Shelley and all. They were nature poets. Similarly, Wordsworth was also a nature poet, and in most of his poems he talks about nature. All these nature poets, all these poets of Romantic age, they often talk about sometimes they talk about nature, sometimes they talk about people around them. That is why they are known as nature poet or poets of Romantic age. Now we are going to read what is given in the text about Wordsworth. Now all of you open your books to page number 25. It is an easy poem, children. It is just the imagination that will make Wordsworth feel happy at the sight of the nature that is being depicted in the poem. That if you are a nature lover, even if you are in very sad mood thinking about nature, that nature, the beauty of that nature can bring about joy to a person who loves nature. So that this is what is being told in this poem by Wordsworth. Let us see what is written in the textbook. Open your books to page number 25. There is a box given, as I keep on telling you that you should always read what is given here in the box, because it gives you fair bit of idea about the poem as well and about the style of writing of the poet as well. So page number 25, William Wordsworth. No study of English literature is complete without reading of William Wordsworth. That is what I told you, that it is impossible for us to complete study of English literature without studying about Wordsworth. Wordsworth is one of the most prominent figures of English literature, who is perhaps the greatest of the Romantic poets. As I have already told you that he was a Romantic poet, and among all the Romantic poets, he was the greatest among them all. It was he who rallied for the use of everyday language, common people and things in poetry. Wordsworth was a great lover of nature, and this poem was inspired by a real life experience. Whatever has been told in this poem, Daffodils, children, it is the inspiration of what he had actually encountered in his life. Some real life experience has been told about this, has been told in this poem, Daffodils. Once when on a walk with his sister, he came upon sight of a belt of daffodils. Belt of daffodils means a place which had a large number of daffodils growing there. That is known as the belt of daffodils. So it is being told that once he was traveling with his sister, once he was walking with his sister, and on his way he encountered a belt of daffodils, a group of daffodils beside a lake with the wind blowing over the flowers. And those daffodils were beside one lake, and the wind was blowing, and because of the wind, flowers were moving from one side to another. The sight of this vast expanse of yellow flowers inspired Wordsworth to write this remarkable poem. The sight means to look at these beautiful flowers, these beautiful daffodils were the inspiration behind this poem. Those flowers, those daffodils inspired Wordsworth to produce this great piece of writing. He goes on to tell the reader that long after he had this experience, the mere memory of the sight would lift his spirits whenever he felt dejected or depressed. In the poem, Wordsworth has clearly told the readers that even after he had experienced them, whenever he was in sad mood, even the imagination, even the recollection of the past memory made him feel very happy, and again his spirits changed from dull spirit to a very happy and joyful spirit whenever he imagined these flowers, whenever he visualized these flowers. Clear? This well-known poem is elegy to the restorative parts of nature. Elegy means is an appeal, is a reflection to the restorative parts of nature. The part that nature has, this poem is indicative of those parts. Now we are going to do the poem in detail. Page number 26. Daffodils by William Wordsworth. During the course of explanation, children, I will keep on telling you the meanings, so please follow the meanings and keep writing those meanings in your book. I wandered lonely as a cloud. I wandered lonely as a cloud means I walked slowly just like clouds, they walk slowly. I walked slowly like a cloud, as a cloud, like a cloud that floats on high over vales and hills. Just like those clouds, those clouds who flow on high, flow above the valleys and hills and the water bodies, just like those clouds, I kept on moving. I kept on moving. When all at once I saw a crowd. When all at once I saw a crowd. When all at once I saw a large group, but in this line the poem has not revealed what large group he saw. Let's see what he sees. A host of golden daffodils. The poet says that on his way he saw that a group of daffodils, a large number of daffodils. That is why he has used the word when all at once I saw a crowd. That is why he has talked about crowd, large number, and that is why he is saying a host of golden daffodils. There were a place which had large number of daffodils beside the lake, beneath the trees. Beside the lake means it was beside the lake and under the tree. Beneath means under the tree. These flowers, these daffodils were growing under the shade of the tree, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Fluttering and dancing in the breeze means they were moving quickly, a quick light movement from one place to another, and it gave the reflection, and the poet is saying that the movement was such that it gave the feeling as if they were dancing in the breeze. They were making movements as if their movements were like dancing in the breeze. Now children, let us keep on let us keep on notice the figures of speech used in this stanza by the poet. In first line itself, the poet has used the figure of speech that is simile. Simile. I wandered lonely as a cloud. As whenever as is used to compare two things, a human being and a living thing and a non-living thing, then obviously it is very obvious that the figure of speech that is being used here is a simile. Wherever the comparison is being made between a living being and a non-living being with the use of the word as or then always remember children that the figure of speech which is being used over here is simile. Then next line, that floats on high over valleys and hills. That floats on high over valleys and hills. Now see children, again the comparison has been made with the human being. The comparison is being made with the between human beings and valley and clouds. But the comparison has been made with the human being and between clouds and hills. So again there is a figure of speech, but here the figure of speech which is being used is not simile. Instead, comparison is being made without the use of word as and than. So the figure of speech which is being used over here is metaphor. When all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. All at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Daffodils are personified because just as we talk about human beings, a crowd of just as we refer to human beings as crowd, the poet has referred to daffodils also as crowd. That is why we can say that the figure of speech which is being used over here is personification. Personification. The next stanza, continuous as the star that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. It seemed as if they were shining and shining, and there was no end to their shine. They were shining. Their shine was at the zenith, just as the shine of the stars. They were shining, and it seemed that they were arranged in a Milky Way. Just like the star, there are so many stars in the sky. Similarly, the daffodils were there on the daffodils were there beside the lake and beneath the trees. They stretched in never-ending line. They stretched in never-ending line means there were so many daffodils that it gave the feeling as if there was no end to the crowd of daffodils, and there were large number of daffodils growing beside the lake and beneath the tree along the margin of a bay. Of a bay means along the margin of the shore of the lake. 10,000 saw I at a glance. 10,000 saw I at a glance means the poet saw large number of daffodils at a glance. He did not count the daffodils, just as we say something in order to make it very impressive, and exaggeration is there. Similarly, the poet has also said 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in the springly dance. Write down the meaning of the word tossing. Tossing means to move one's head this way or that way. To move one's head this way or that way. In springly dance, write down the meaning of the word springly, full of light and energy. The daffodils were moving. The daffodils were moving, tossing their heads from one side to another, from this way to that way. with great vigor. It gave the impression as if they were full of energy, just as the human beings are full of energy whenever they do dancing, or similarly they were making quick movements like dancing of human beings. That is why we can say that again daffodils are being personified. Now again there is another figure of speech which is being used in the 5th line of the 2nd stanza, that is hyperbole. Hyperbole, we wrote hyperbole, hyperbole, hyperbole. It means, hyperbole means whenever we exaggerate something. You must have heard your mothers telling you at home कि 1000 बार कहा है, 1000 बार कहा है, 1000 बार कहा है. No one says it 8,000 times, but just to exaggerate, just to make you understand something, we say that we have said it uncountable number of times. 1000 बार कहा है, ये बात करो. What is this? 1000 bar means I have told you n number of times. That is what we can say hyperbole is, exaggeration of something. Is it clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, the next stanza. In this stanza, the poet has just explained how the daffodils were growing beside the lake, and it gave the feeling as if they were shining continuously, just like the stars, and they were arranged just like the stars are arranged in the Milky Way. Similarly, the daffodils were also arranged, and they were dancing, they were tossing their head. They were tossing their head from one side to another, and it seemed as if the daffodils were full of energy, and it evoked joy in the poet. It evoked joy in the poet. Let's see what happens in the next stanza. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. The waves beside them danced. The waves that were there in the lake, they were also dancing. The poet is saying that the waves are also dancing, but they outdid, they outsmarted. They means the daffodils, they outsmarted the waves in their dance. The waves even could not match their glee. The waves that were trying to dance, they also could not match their happiness, could not match their glee. They surpassed the waves. Outdid means surpassed, outsmarted. Glee means happiness. The waves beside them, the waves beside the lake beside which the daffodils were growing, the waves in that lake, it seemed as if they were also dancing. But the dance of the daffodils was much better as compared to the dance of the lakes. And it seemed as if the daffodils, the flowers, were very happy when they were dancing. It gave the impression as if the flowers were very happy. A poet could not but be gay. Whenever the poet is saying that whenever a poet experiences such a sight, such a beautiful sight of beautiful flowers dancing in such a mood, but the poet has no option, but the poet cannot help it, but the poet has to be gay. The poet has to be happy by viewing such a sight, by having a view of such a sight, that is the host of golden daffodils. In such a jocund company, means in such a cheerful company, I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show has to me brought. The poet is saying, gazed and gazed means the poet looked steadily, the poet looked continuously at these daffodils. The poet had fixed his eyes on the daffodils, but he could not imagine at that point of time what joy these daffodils had brought to him, what pleasure these daffodils had brought to him. Then last stanza. For oft when on my couch I lie. For oft means often. Oft means often. The poet is saying, for oft And then the poet could not realize, when he was viewing those daffodils, he could not realize what joy he has got by seeing those daffodils, at the sight of those daffodils. But then the poet is saying that later on, whenever on his couch he lied, whenever on his couch he used to take rest, in vacant or in pensive mood, when his mind was empty and when he was very sad. Pensive means thinking deeply about something, especially when you are in sad mood. Thinking deeply about something when you are in sad mood. For oft when on my couch or I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon my inward eye. The poet is saying that whenever the poet was in a very sad mood, and whenever the poet used to lie on his couch without thinking about anything, just when he was feeling sad, the thought of these daffodils, the imagination of these daffodils came back to his mind, and he visualized them, he imagined them. And then, which is the bliss of solitude? Now, which is the bliss of solitude means this thought the poet is saying, this thought, the happiness that he received by imagining daffodils, they can come only when a person is alone. When a person is alone, and then he can imagine these type of thoughts, and then he can feel happy about them. And that is what the poet is saying, which is the bliss of solitude. The thought that came, the happiness that he got by again imagining the daffodils when he was alone and in pensive mood. The poet is saying that this was the this was the gift that he received for being lonely, that again such a beautiful thought came to his eyes, that is the thought of golden daffodils. And then my heart with pleasure fills, just as he recalls, just as he reimagines, just as he recollects the thought of those golden daffodils. Just then his heart gets filled with pleasure, and he regains happiness, and dances with the daffodils. And then he becomes so happy just by imagining, just by recalling the sight of those daffodils, that it gives the feeling to him that then his heart again starts dancing with those dancing daffodils. Is it clear? Is it clear, children?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if it is clear, thank you so much, children, and keep watching my videos. I will keep updating you all with my future videos. Till then, bye bye and thank you.